But welcome back to another episode of whatever this is.
Whatever this is.
Yeah. I'm Snappy Patchy, and this is Mari.
Mari. Yes.
All right, cool. So, we're going to have another conversation about weightlifting and your journey here.
Yes.
Here and beyond.
Is that Snappy? That's Snappy!
I'm ready.
Okay, cool. So I guess we'll just start with you just kind of introducing yourself and giving us a little bit of background about...
Okay. So I'm Mari.
Okay.
I've been weightlifting for a year and 8 months.
8 months.
Yes.
Just strictly weightlifting.
Just strictly weightlifting. Okay. Because before I was doing CrossFit, and I don't consider that like full. I mean, when you're doing CrossFit, you don't really focus. It's kind of like 20 minutes to like do a snatch or like clean a jerk. So it's kind of like, doesn't matter what my form is. Like,
Yeah, you don't get that time in CrossFit to build the foundation of weightlifting.
Oh my God, no. Like when I started weightlifting, and then it was just kind of like the pull, and then like first pull, second pull, and the shrug, and this and that, and I'm like, why didn't I learn this in like CrossFit? And it was kind of like, and it's crazy because that calls for injury. I mean, I'm not bashing CrossFit gyms. I'm like, this is pretty
No, but it's true. It's
true.
It's true because a lot of people walk in there with that ego, and you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. I did not know a lot of things. Like, for example, I used to do my jerks with a hook grip. My jerks, hook grip.
You know what, though? It's better that you had a hook grip than didn't.
Oh, yeah, because I know a lot of people that don't hook grip.
Yeah,
and I'm
like
let me tell you, sometimes even my steering wheel.
Me too.
I'm like, hook grip. Yeah, hook grip everything. Just everything.
That's law. Hook grip everything.
Yes.
Just
like, seriously.
Steering wheel, if you're eating, hook grip your fork.
Yes. No, like, seriously, everything. Like, if I'm going to grab, even like the other day I caught myself with a grocery bag. I was hook gripping. I'm like so extra, but yeah, like it's so many things that you don't learn in CrossFit, and it's just kind of like, it's so limited too. It's like you get 1 hour to just do like certain stuff. So it's like we're maxing out, and it's like, for example, like if I'm maxing out like here, like like clean a jerk or whatever, it'll take me like an hour
just to warm up.
Yeah. And then like, but when I did CrossFit, it was like 20 minutes to like
everything.
Max out. Yeah. Like, so, so I started off CrossFit, and then like I noticed that I was just better at the Olympic weightlifting movements, and then like, I was just introduced to like, barbell classes like twice a week, and then it just kind of like, I got hurt doing CrossFit, so it was like, you know what, I need to just like focus on, because for me, like, I love clean and jerk, I love snatches, and I'm like, I noticed that weightlifting, you just focus on technique and form, and you don't have to rush your lifts.
Yeah.
Versus like the 20-minute or like that 10-minute AMRAP of like touch and go cleans, So it was like one of those things that I was just kind of like, oh, I like this, know. So I started doing it, and then I was just still like, I went from twice a week to 3 times a week. And then at the CrossFit place that I was at, like my coach, she decided, to like move on to, better things for her. And she introduced me, like she was basically the one that introduced me to like weightlifting.
Okay.
She was just like, you have to just quit CrossFit or whatever, which, I'm like, I'm grateful that she like introduced me, to that. And then she's just like she just told me like, here's this gym that you could go to and get better, like, so I joined Ape Squad, and from there it's been like history. Well, not history, but it's
history in the making.
In the making, yes.
So what's your goal? Like, where do you see yourself taking this? Like, is it just nationals or a team, like a USA team, or do you see a limit?
like, I don't know. I feel like I'm not like, I don't know. I'm so hard on myself. And like my coach tells me this all the time. Like, you're so hard on yourself. Like, I don't see myself that far, but I'm like, my goal is like AO finals and then nationals, you know, like that's just like, when I first started like lifting, I didn't know about like AO finals. I didn't know about states. I didn't know about like nationals. I just knew like, competitions and the fact that like you gotta weigh in and it's based on your weight. And I was like, that was a thing. I'm like, I'm never gonna compete. Like, I'm never gonna compete. And then the fact that you have to wear a singlet, I'm like, I'm like, hell no. Like, it took me a long time. Probably like 8 months before I actually did my first competition. Okay. And that's when like I started like seeing people like, oh, nationals, and I'm like, what's nationals, and then what's this, and then what's, like,
start to learn more about the sport.
I started to learn more, and then just like, so I was like, one day I want to be like nationals, but then like I'm like, this year, and then like I go and look at the totals, I'm like, well,
I'm like next year.
Yeah, I'm like, let's reevaluate that goal, like how long, but it's been a process because it's, I feel like so many things like take into place, like your weight, I feel like for me, it has been like, kind of like I either like cut, weight and increase my totals to kind of like have a better chance at qualifying for this event. Like it's just, because for example, like if I was 87 plus, I will need like a 195 total.
Okay.
Which, like,
I think you got that.
One day.
What's your total now?
163, and that was from states last year. Okay. So I haven't
maxed out.
Like, yeah, I haven't had, like, I feel like that's not my true total now. I mean, it's been like
6 months?
6 months, 7 months. So, hopefully this year, it's like, but it's, yeah, that was like my total, and I feel like I could have gotten more. I missed my first 2 reps, like of clean and jerk.
Okay.
I missed my opener and my second one, and it was something that like, I don't know what happened. I was just like, yeah, I don't know. It was like, I don't know if it was like nerves, but it was just like, when I did my opener that like earlier that week, it was like 89 and it was like cake. Okay. And I'm like, oh my God, I for sure have at least like 96 in the tank. So I go and I clean 89. I didn't even freaking clean it. Like when I went like that weight threw me backwards.
Okay.
Something never happens to me. And then, you miss your opener and you're like.
It's a mental thing from there on. Like,
yeah.
You have to try to bounce back. Like missing your openers, I think that separates like the good lifters from the great lifters.
Oh yeah. Like I haven't done many meets, but the first time that I missed an opener was at Prelim, which was my snatch, and I barely just got here, and then I was like, I sat in the back, and I was like, I was about to cry. I was like, because I'm like,
I think I have that picture, by the way. No, I don't think I have you. I don't think I have you crying, but I remember. I think your coach at that meet was like trying to calm you down in the back. Okay.
Yes, like.
I may have posted it, but I do have that. I think I do have that.
Yeah,
picture.
Like he was like, close your eyes, envision yourself making this lift, and I'm like, fuck. And I ended up hitting a PR that day on my snatch, which was amazing. And then,
and kind of your clean and jerk, but then.
You know what? I
was there. I would say it was a good lift, but the rules are the rules.
The rules are the rules. You know, and I was so mad. I think I stormed off.
Okay. Well, let's tell the people what happened.
Okay, so I opened with 88, and 88 were perfect. Then I hit 91. I missed my jerk at 91, and like let's go up. So when like I jerked 92, and it was like I jerked it. Yeah. On the videos, it looks beautiful, but I guess that recovery was like shitty. Yeah. And I was like dancing all over the platform, like, and I guess at the point that I stopped and I saw her kind of like going like that. Yeah. So for me, I was like, okay, but she didn't have her whole hand down.
And she put her hand up.
And I don't think my feet were.
You took another step and then you dropped it.
Yeah. So she didn't give it to me. Yeah. But she came and apologized, which I felt bad. She's like, I'm so sorry. She's like, you had it, but the rules are the rules.
Yeah.
You know, and I understand. I cried. I'm not gonna lie. I cried because I'm like, I deserve this, you know. And it was also like a PR. But you know, it happens, and then like since I learned a lesson.
Yeah, exactly.
Feet together.
Wait for the.
Yeah, and then feet together because my feet weren't together. She told me I didn't give it to you because your feet were not together.
Okay.
I think my feet were like, you know.
Well, I mean, I don't know if your feet have. Well, maybe I don't know. I thought it was just you had to stop moving.
She told me my feet were.
Okay. All right. I don't know. Clearly, I'm still a student of the game.
Well,
so.
Me too, because I had no idea. Like, I mean, if you would have asked me before, like, do your feet have to be together? I'm like,
still learning.
I'm like, as long as you're stable, you know.
So wait for the down signal. That's the lesson.
Like, not even here, just
all the way down. And I usually I want to wait for the actual sound. Like, I want them to say down.
Yeah.
But I know, like, I've done like AO3, which is kind of like a mock nationals.
Yeah.
They have like a little arrow that you could see a visual.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe they should incorporate that here.
I mean, we could try it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of like I was not experienced to, you know, I feel like somebody that would have been more experienced in weightlifting competitions probably would have held off longer till that arm was down. And it was literally my second competition.
You did great, though. You did great.
Yeah, so I was just kind of like, I was just happy, you know. I mean, I still got like third place, I think. Okay. Yeah, I was like third place, which was good, you know. But, yeah, like now, like, my hopes is, you know, to just, like, not miss, especially openers. So for states, when I missed that opener, I was just, like, freaking out because I was, like, my goal was, like, 89, then, like, 92, and then 95. You know, that was, like, our goal, like, 95, like, no ifs or buts.
But then once you miss that opener, it throws
yeah.
a wrench in it.
Oh my God, yeah. So then, like, I go for my second one. I go to clean it, and then that clean felt like horrible. It felt like a brick. So I know a lot of lifters, and I freaking envy them. Their clean looks horrible,
but the jerk is
like, or they like struggle to get up. They get stuck, but then the jerk is like, they make it, and that's not me. If you see me struggling with really struggling with the clean, you can guarantee I'm going to miss that jerk. I just cannot recover. And maybe I'm not there yet. But
I mean, you'll get there. You know, it's a work in progress. I feel like I'm at that point now where if I get the clean, I will get the jerk.
Okay.
I think, but it's hard to tell because my last competition I went 2 for 6. So.
Well, I mean, okay, you know, it happens, but I feel like I've gotten better on that too. Like, I've had like a couple training days this past couple of weeks where I struggled with my cleans, but my jerks were like good, and I was like surprised. But for states, that clean was like shit, and then like my jerk, I missed it from behind, something I never do, and I'm like, okay, in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna bomb out. I'm like,
have that mindset, but that's something you have to like. It's something most lifters will have to work on, I guess. But it's I feel like weightlifting, of course, strength and technique, but mental is like mental thing. It's very like I always like. I don't know if I've ever had this conversation with anyone, but like in my head, I'm always like, weightlifting is way harder than CrossFit.
Oh my God, yeah. Like, for sure. I feel like CrossFit, it's kind of like, you know, you have 15 minutes, you know, whether you're running, like you're doing, I just feel like it's easier for you to push, you know. I feel like you know that you could push, you know, unless you're like about to pass out and stuff like that. But I feel like that's something like you could push for those like last 3 wall balls or like, you know, thrusters or whatever. But like a lift, like when you're approaching it, you just don't know. And it is like strength and confidence. And if mentally you're not there, it's just like not happening. Like it's so hard. I feel like when I'm mentally struggling, my lifting like session goes horrible. Like it's horrible.
Yeah. And that's why I think CrossFit is way easier because as a CrossFit athlete, like even in training, there's always something you could celebrate about, right?
Yeah.
Like you can celebrate getting your first double under or your 10th double under in a row.
Yeah.
Like with weightlifting, like you'll go 3-6 months without seeing any improvement for real. Like you don't know if you're improving until you get that max out day.
Oh my God.
It's like, oh yeah, I got 1 kilo more. Like
I think it's like mental, like I don't know, like you're just like, oh my God. So that's been happening to me. So last time I maxed out my clean and jerk was August for prelim, and last time I maxed out my snatch was for states. So I have tried to, just max out, but it's just like, I feel like always something happens, like something personal life or just mentally, I'm like not there, and I'm just kind of like, and it makes me feel like, am I like struggling?
Is something wrong with me? Or
yeah.
Something? Yeah.
So, for example, like a couple of weeks ago, I hit like my opener at states, which is 69. I did it for 5 reps.
Wow.
So it's like
that's a big improvement.
Yes.
That is a huge in like 6 months.
Yes.
Not like your opener is working weight. Like you have to you have to remember that. Like you have to remind yourself that like all the time. Exactly. This is like I am like I said, you don't see it, but like doing 5 reps of your opener, that's huge.
That's what was like. And same thing for like my clean and jerk. My max is like 92, and I did 87 for 5 reps too. So I'm just like, okay, I know that I'm progressing. So I hit those reps and it felt like cake, and it was so good. And then like probably 2-3 weeks later, I couldn't even hit those weights, and I'm just kind of like, well, why? I just did, so it's kind of like
weightlifting.
Yeah, and it's so mental. Like I feel like you have to be mentally like strong, and so I'm like kind of like working. Like I'm so thankful that my coach, she's like very like hands-on when it comes to like mental training and mental strength, and like I have her like journal, and then like we she's always like do those journal exercises, or like she'll send me like videos of like just
motivational,
like motivational videos, like of her telling me like do this, do that, and also like reading books has like helped. But just like training alone is kind of like,
that's a whole nother, and that's kind of why I'm kind of doing this stuff. Like I get to go to people's garages.
Yeah.
And like we trained together before we did this. So it's like we motivate each other, because I do work out at home sometimes.
Yeah.
And I do get to a point where it's like I think one day like I almost like broke down a little bit. I was just like nobody, like if I stop right now, nobody's gonna know. Right? Like, nobody will know if I stop in the middle of my workout. But then, in the back of my head, it's like, if I stop, like, I'm giving up on myself.
Oh, my God, yeah. I feel like when you're training, like, in your garage alone, it's kind of like you could do whatever you want. You can skip. You could, like, just,
you
cut the reps in
half. Numbers,
Yeah, and it's like, sometimes I thought about that. I'm not gonna lie. And there's been times where I'm like, I'm not gonna do my squats today. I mean, it's very little, like not many times. And there's been times where I feel just like drained or like crappy, but it's something that it forces you to hold yourself accountable. And not only that, but like push yourself, like if, like if you're alone, you just have to push yourself. It's just you, yourself, and nobody else. And you, like, if you don't push yourself and you don't motivate yourself, you don't have nobody else, like, to do that. So it's kind of like, how bad do you want it? Like, obviously there's people that, train in their garage and they're just doing it for fun. So it's like, whatever, but like, I feel like in this, I think the year and 8 months is a short period of time,
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things,
Yeah, so I feel like, man, I've done, like, I progressed so much in this short amount of time. I'm like, I could just imagine when, like, if, the more that I put in work and stuff like that. So that kind of, like, pushes me. And also it's just kind of like, sometimes if I don't, like, post a video, like, if I don't submit it to my coach, it's like, oh, did you do this? Or, it's just kind of like.
She holds you accountable. Okay.
Yeah, so that's another thing, too. So, but the first like few months working out here, it hit me hard. Like I will cry. I mean, it sounds like really bad because like you tell like the average person, oh my god, I cried because I missed this number, but why? Like
they don't understand.
They won't understand. They'll probably look at you like, oh my god, you're so stupid.
Yeah.
Like it's just weightlifting, you know. But it's kind of like, you know, when you're putting so much effort and then like for a number that's so like it's like normal or like
routine
like, to you, and then you miss it, and then like you're like, why? It you know, if you're not there mentally, it could break you. I feel like this will either make you or break you, and it's freaking crazy.
And so I know you've only been doing it for a year and 8 months or whatnot, but within that year and 8 months, you went from in-person coaching to only working out in your garage. Like what would you say the biggest difference and like pretty much the biggest roadblock, I guess, would be like between in-person and being a remote athlete?
You know, like I feel like in person, it's just not that it's so much easier because you still go through your days where you're struggling, but you have the people that motivate you. You have that coach that's constantly watching you, you know. And I mean, granted, like my coach, she's very like responsive, like very quick and stuff like that, you know. But it's not the same when like you have a coach, like, oh my god, I just missed my snatch. Your coach comes, it's like, okay, well,
let me watch this rep, and then
or you know, like he'll tell you, like for example, if you're in person, your coach will be like, well, you didn't fully extend. But like here, like I feel like when you're a remote athlete, you have to force yourself to kind of like learn the movements. You have to just like learn it, like learn everything from your setup, you know, from how you're setting up to your pull to just like everything.
You have to study, like you have to be a student of, because I mean at some point it's almost like you have to coach yourself until your coach could add something to
that has been, I think, for me the hardest part because I'm still fairly new in this, you know, so it's kind of just like, am I doing this right? I feel like now I'm at a point where like I could tell, okay, I pulled too early, or like I threw my like shoulders back, you know, stuff like that, or I didn't use my legs, like, you know. But I feel like, you know, at a gym you have your team, you know, like they're motivating you. Here it's just like very rare that you'll have somebody like they're motivating you. You know, you're alone, and it's just kind of like, let me tell you, when I first started, I would just like dance here. I would like dance, I'm like sing, I'm like trying to stay like
motivated.
And also like sane, because like I kind of was like, I started like even questioning, like, is this even something that I could like do for the long run?
Okay.
You know, like, am I gonna be able to just train here for like the rest of, you know, like
you're like for the foreseeable future?
Yeah. And at first I was like, you know what? I don't fucking fly.
I'm trying to ignore it.
Yeah, but summer. But you know, like now I'm at a point where I enjoy working out by myself.
Okay.
Like I feel like I've learned, you know, to love that and enjoy that. And I've also taken the time to ask other weightlifters, for example, like Christina. I know that she's worked in her garage for a long time, and she's somebody that like I admire and look up to, you know. So, and like I asked her, like, how do you do it? Like, how do you deal with this? How do you deal with that? And then I remember, like, you know, she was injured and I was injured at the same time.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, like, we will send each other messages like, hey, how are you? And this and that. And then that's another thing. You getting injured and you're, like, here alone and you're just kind of, like, coming back from an injury.
Yeah.
And you're remote. It's, like...
And you don't, like, you have to figure out, like, how to ease yourself back in.
It's hard. I have videos of me like crying just
wow.
You know, it's like a lot of people are like, it's not a big deal, you're putting too much like too much on yourself and stuff like that. But it's just like, not that I'm a perfectionist, but I'm like, I know what I'm capable of doing, and then, you know, I know that I'm capable of doing way more. But to me, I feel like it's a lot of mental.
Yeah. So how do you? All right. Well, actually, let's talk about, because you did go through like a transformation, right?
Oh,
like recently, you posted like a before and after, and
yes,
I guess could we say it was because of the 75 hard program that
it was a combination of like I feel like 75 hard like really kept me accountable.
Okay.
I think if it wasn't because of that, I wouldn't have been so strict.
Okay. So let's, I guess, talk about like what was that journey like, doing like just your 75 hard journey, because you say you started a couple times.
Oh yeah, I started a couple times. So like when I started weightlifting, I learned that like it's weight classes, and then like I was 87 plus, and then like once I started like seeing, I'm so sad, but I was like, once I started seeing like who I was going up against with, like I'm like, oh my god, I'm like I should probably drop. I don't feel comfortable where I'm at either. So, and it's not like my numbers were like up there, you know. So, and also health issues, you know, just like I wanted to feel better and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, let me just like start cutting. So, I lifted up Pralium at like almost 102 kilos.
Okay.
And then that's when I was like, you know what, I need to cut. Like I need to like just like come down and then like bring my numbers up. You know, like I feel like if I could do a combination of both, I have like a fair chance at like AO finals or like eventually one day nationals. So I started cutting around August. I tried my first 75 hard. I did it for like 3 weeks, and for me the hardest part was like the 2 workouts a day and the gallon of water.
Okay.
To me, the whole gallon of water was just kind of like, oh my god, why? It was so inconvenient. Like I couldn't even freaking go to the store without having to go to the bathroom.
Oh yeah. No, trust me, I know.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, you know, I have like this like half a gallon of like jug that I just carry with me everywhere now, and like now I'm done with the 75 hard, and I still drink my gallon. But so 3 weeks I failed because first it was the gallon, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna still keep going. And then I fell because of the second workout, and then I had my old nutritionist. She's like, no, you have to keep pushing. I'm like, you know what, this is not for me.
Yeah.
So, you know, I still like I proceeded with my cut. States happened, and I weighed in like I think 95 kilos. So I had already lost like 7-ish kilos.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then again I was like, you know what, for the next States I'm gonna be 87 or lower.
Okay.
So you know, holidays happened. That was, and then it's crazy because for me it's like Thanksgiving, my birthday,
Christmas.
So it's kind of, my birthday is December 12th, so it's like 13 days from Christmas. So it's like, you know, I don't even have a chance to recover from like my birthday when I'm already like Christmas and eating and stuff like that. So that happened, and then January I was like, you know what, like I need to start, and then States was announced. So I didn't have much time, but that's when I was like, you know what, like I ended up switching like nutritionist, and then I'm we're working against gravity.
Oh wow, everybody's working against gravity.
Oh my god.
Shout out to them. I need to figure out who that person is, because they're doing a great job with all the lifters that's on that program are doing.
Well, I'm
fantastic.
with Nicole, and she was like recommended by Amy. Like she's like, you know, most of my athletes work with her, like, you know, because it was a lot of things that I was seeing like with my own nutritionist, and I was just kind of like bummed about it. You know, I was like really low calorie, like 1,400 calories, and then I was still trying to lift. Well, I wasn't feeling crappy, but it was just kind of like not, you know, realistic. So, you know, I switched, and then I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna start this cut. I'm gonna do 75 hard. I'm like, this is the only way that I'm gonna stay, like, because I love to go out to eat. I love going out to eat. Like, that's just my thing. Like, I love a nice piece of steak. So I started 75 hard, and you know, I was just like, this is gonna keep me accountable, you know, and then I need to be strict, because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, you know, losing weight is like working out, and I'm like, no, like I work out faithfully, like 5-6.
It's nutrition.
Oh yeah, like nutrition. It's 100% nutrition. Obviously, movement.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a combination of the two. But I feel like nutrition. outweighs, because you could lose weight just on nutrition without working out, but you could work out and do terrible nutrition and just see no results.
Well, that was me. I was working out and faithfully lifting, and when I started like weightlifting, I was probably like under 87 kilos. Okay. Then by the time I hit like probably like close to a year, I was already like over 87 plus.
Oh, okay.
So for me, it was like, I mean, I was working out faithfully, but for me, nutrition, it was like everything. So started working against gravity, 75 hard, and then like, you know, that second movement and the gallon of water helps. It's like
I'm gonna get it one day. Okay.
And, yeah, and it was just like, honestly, it was like a game changer for me.
Okay.
It kept me accountable. I'm not gonna lie. There were days where I wanted to quit. I remember like we were messaging. I'm like, yesterday I almost quit. Like,
yeah, like I'll send you messages like, hey, because we were kind of on it at the same time, and like I was ahead of you, so I knew like there's certain days that would come where it's like you get, especially towards the end, where it's like I think day 50. It's like when it's really like, okay, I've been on this for 50 days. And I still got 25 more. And it's just, it feels repetitive. And it's like, oh my God, like I've done all of this already. And I still, like, I'm only 2/3 of the way. So it's like, that's why I would just like hit you up like, hey, how you doing? And you're like, almost quit yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm like, now you got to keep going.
No, for me, like, it was, the gallon of water started becoming easier.
Oh, yeah.
The reading the 10 pages,
because
you get that out of the way fast. For me, it was starting to become like the second workout. So what I did was, you know what? I'm just going to walk before I even train. So the first thing I would do was walking, and I still do it.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're still on like the program, basically.
I basically, because still like cutting, still walking every day, still drinking my gallon of water. You know, obviously if I want to eat like a little cookie or whatever, I mean, not this couple weeks, because
you got a competition coming up.
Yeah, but you know, like if I see something, you know, like just one little piece or whatever, but I'm still like, I think it's something that you do it for so long that now if you stop,
it's in your head, like it's ingrained after 75, and that's why I keep trying to tell everybody, it's not a fitness program.
It's not.
Like, it's a mental game. Like, once you go through those 75 days and it's like, why would I go back? Like,
yeah. No, for me, I think I almost failed like day 60.
Ooh.
And I was just like, you know what? No. And it's, once you finish it, you feel so like accomplished. You feel so proud. Like, oh my God, I did this for 7 nights, like not 30 days, not 40.
Not 45, no.
But 75
whole days.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I love, like, it's just like you said, like, you feel so accomplished. Like, the best thing about it though, like, you should, like, when you tell other people about it, like, you ever tell other people and they look at you like, oh my God, that's impossible.
Yeah. Like
I couldn't do that for one day. And you're like, I did it for 75 whole days. Like, you just feel like, like,
when I will post on my Instagram, people will message me like, what's 75 hard? And I will tell them, and they were like, what? No alcohol for 75 days? And you know what? For me, that was the easiest part.
Yeah, me too.
Because I'm not a drinker. I mean, I'll drink if I go out to dinner. And then it kind of sucks when I will go out to dinner. And then, you know, when like I will go, like and I see people drinking, and I'm just kind of like, I can drink.
Like, it looks good, but whatever. I'll take a water, please.
Yeah, or like, can I have that drink, but with no liquor? Like, it was just kind of like that, or you know. But it wasn't like a big deal. It's not like I'm here on the weekend drinking and stuff like that. No, like, because I'll never forget. I went for brunch and I had so much like mimosas and I got so drunk. And then that was a Sunday. That Monday I went to train and it was like I felt like crap for like 4 days.
Wow.
And I told myself, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, drinking is not for me.
Was that before 75 hard?
Oh, yeah,
after?
Before.
Okay.
That was like, I think it was like, probably like a couple weeks before.
Okay.
And then I was just kind of like, you know what? This is not for me. But it definitely tests you a lot, like mentally. I feel like you have to be mentally strong. If you're mentally weak, you're not gonna complete those 75 days.
But even if you're mentally weak, like I feel like the purpose of it is to get you mentally strong.
Yeah, but I feel like if you're not like
dedicated.
mentally, dedicated, you're just not. It's how bad you want it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like if you really want it, you know, then you'll do it. You know, like it's like, okay, I may feel good having this drink, or I may feel good eating this like ice cream or whatever, but like how you feel at the end of those 75 days. And you know what's funny? The pictures every day, and I'll be like, I'm not making any freaking progress. I will look and I'm like, but then when I put from like
the first and the last,
yes, I was like, oh my God. Even from day 1 to day 50, I was like, wow. Even my face, like, because my first picture, I was like, I was like, just like, yeah, like literally, like, I don't know if you remember that day 1, I was like, and then day like 75, I'm like,
you like smiling a little bit,
yeah,
you trying
like,
to feel a little confident,
yes.
like,
no, exactly, no, you know, and I'm just like, I'm getting closer to like my goal weight, which is 81.
Okay.
Like, I feel like goal is 81 by premium. So I may start I may do phase 1 and then do phase 2. Or people ask me, will you do the 75 hard all over again? And I'm like,
phase 1. Listen, phase 1 is only 30 days, but it's tough too. It's like it doesn't seem like it because you're like, yo, I already did this before. But for me, like at first it was easy because it's like, okay, cool. Like I was dedicated. I'm like, yeah, I promise you, I was crushing it. I was crushing phase 1 for the first 2 weeks, and then like that third, I slacked off on a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, you know what? I'm doing good. I have time. I'm off on Saturdays, so I think I played like video games for like 2 hours on a Saturday.
You can.
And then from then, it was just terrible. I was playing catch up every single day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, all I did was play video games, dude. All I did, like I didn't drink, I just played video games, and now I'm struggling every single, like those 2 hours hurt.
No, I feel like with that, like 75 hard or even phase 1, like if you don't start your day off like early, it will creep up on you.
Oh.
That happened to me a lot of Sundays. So I will so Sundays obviously I don't lift, but I will just find myself like, okay, I'm gonna go walk, and then like at 9 o'clock I will like struggle like doing my second workout. So I'm like, you know, yoga counts. So but I did the hard yoga, and I would just be like 45 minutes doing freaking yoga. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, ooh. I'm like, is this almost done? Because it was hard. Yeah. And I thought I was like, I had good mobility, but doing this freaking yoga is like, I think it was like yin yoga. I don't know. One of those. It was hard. It was hard, and I'm like, I'd rather freaking go on another walk.
But I did a lot of yoga because I'm like, all right, well, since I'm already doing the 75 hard, I might as well work on my mobility, and my mobility has improved.
Oh my God,
a lot.
Yes. No, I recommend it. You know, I just feel like, I mean, even if people are not even trying to lose weight, but if it's something that they're trying to like improve their like just mental strength, because
it's helped my business a lot.
That's
like
true.
I'm at the point where I'm like, I just do things now. I'm like, okay, cool, I got to do this. Usually I'd be like, I got to do this. I'll do it later. And now it's like, I got to do this. Well, I'm not doing nothing now. I go and do whatever it is that I'm doing. And like even this year, you know, like it's part of the whole 75 hard. Like, okay, I'm going to start, like I've been wanting to do these sit down interviews, and I just kept pushing it off. And then it's like, all right, you know what, let me drive to Jacksonville. I did the first one with Christina, and now it's like, I just can't wait to do the next one.
That's awesome. I feel like, like things like that, like they put you, like that, like literally make you like progress in just overall everything in your life. It's like amazing. So I would recommend it. Like,
just try it.
Try it.
But like, I think the thing is, like most people when they start it, they like you have to have a purpose behind it.
Yeah, not just do it just because.
Just because it's cool or like it's just.
Oh,
everybody's doing it.
Yeah,
like find your purpose behind it. Like, yo, where am I slacking? And let me go after it. And dedicate 75 days. It's not like there's 365 days in a year, 75 days like for yourself.
Yeah.
Like you could hang out with, like I still hung out with people.
Yeah, I mean, I still went out for dinner. Yeah. I mean, I
had to.
I will stick to like, I mean, steak was like, it's not like unhealthy, you know. I mean, not everybody's gonna agree with that, but you know, like I wouldn't go for the dessert, or I wouldn't go for like just like all this crazy carbs or whatever. I would just, you know, I mean, I count my macros, so I would like plan it out. Like that's one thing that like me and him have. Like we look at the menu before we go, and then we'll put it in our like my fitness pal, and then like we'll just like put it in, and then work our day around that. Yeah. That's
smart. That is smart. So that's everybody. So everybody has excuses. Like, oh man, I gotta eat. I can't. If you know, when you say follow a diet, everybody automatically thinks just salads.
Oh yeah, no, I don't eat salads. I mean, I barely eat vegetables. I mean, that's really bad. But I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'll put like asparagus or broccoli here and there, but to say that like, oh my god, I cut, I mean, this is probably bad advice, but to say that my cut was like because I ate a bunch of vegetables, it'll be a lie.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously cut down on like, I don't eat pasta, I don't eat like breads, you know, but I eat like my sweet potatoes or like plantains or like yuca or, you know, just stuff like that, like fruits. I don't sit there and go and like feed, like go and eat pizza and fit it into my macros, because I feel like that defeats the purpose. It's kind of like a lifestyle, because then when you end that, and if you go back to like what you were, then you go back to like, man, and it's hard to lose weight. I'm just kind of like, man, like I don't want to like keep going back and forth. So
so since I would say you're still relatively new, and you still remember like your first like the beginning of your journey. Like, what would you say to someone who's like afraid of doing not even 75 hard, but just back to weightlifting, like who's afraid to get started in weightlifting, or someone who already started weightlifting but is afraid to do their first competition? Like what would the old you what would you say to the old you?
I would just say, like, you know, like, think about it as like something that you're gonna feel accomplished about doing, and you know, like it's something fun to do. You know, I mean, obviously, let me tell you, my first meet I almost died from nerves, but I was just like, and I've told people have asked me like, oh my god, like how was the first meet? Like, what do you think? And I'm just kind of like, listen, honestly, going with zero expectations. That's the worst thing that you could do, to sit there. I mean, unless you've been lifting for like 2 years. And then, I mean, you know, but mostly people that do their first meet haven't been lifting for that long, you know. But honestly, don't have any expectations. The only expectation that you should have is to have fun. To have fun, to not get hurt, you know, to hit your numbers, you know, and to learn from it, you know, because I feel like from the first meet, that's when you really know if you really love the sport or you don't.
Yeah.
If you really love competition or not. Because there's people that compete. I have a friend that she loves weightlifting, but she just does not compete. Okay. She's like, competition is not for me, you know. But so I feel like your first meet is when you really learn and realize if it's competition is for you or if it's not for you. And, you know, just don't expect anything. Don't expect to sit there and like go 6 for 6. At least that wasn't like, for me. I just, you know, just do good and have fun and enjoy yourself, enjoy the progress. And like after your first meet, then that's when you could be like, listen, I like this. Next meet, I have a goal for like this number, that number, and that, because I feel like at least for my first meet, I expected too much.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. I feel like I expected to like hit this crazy PRs, which I went, like, I hit all my snatches, and I hit, like, my 1 rep max for snatches, but for clean and jerks, I only hit, like, my opener, and then after that, it was, like, done. I was, like, I think it was a combination of nerves, and I drank the night before.
Oh.
Do not drink before.
Don't do that. Don't drink the night before. You can drink after.
Yeah, I went out to eat, and I had, like, 2-3 drinks. Woo! It was, like, 11 o'clock, so it was just...
They snuck up on you.
Yeah, so now I'm like, I did a night before the meet. I'm like in bed. Yeah, water. I'm in bed about like 8 o'clock. Like freaking lavender. Hey, lavender works.
Really? I mean, I wasn't laughing at the lavender. I was just laughing at like you have a whole self-care routine before.
Yeah. Oh my God, I do. Like, I like to get my nails done before. Like, it's a must. Nails have to be done before.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. That's dope. I like what you say though. Like, don't have expectations. Because my first meet, which was the Pralium, like this is the shirt that I have on actually. I had the most fun.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to count kilos.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, man, I lifted in the wrong weight class. I lifted with the 81 just because, like, I had a buddy. I was like, yo, man, let's go do this together.
Yeah.
He's 81. I weighed in at 73. Yep. I weighed in at 73. I couldn't go back because the 73 already went.
Yeah, so you're like,
I was like, yo, I didn't care. I was like, yeah, man, we're going to have fun, man. Let's go. Me and you.
But at least that you.
Oh, my
God.
I had a blast, bro. Like, it was like, to this day, my last snatch at that competition is like my favorite lift ever.
Yeah. I feel like not many people could say that. Like, I know a lot of people at first meet, they're like dying from nerves.
Oh, no. Yeah. I felt at home. I was chilling, had my whole crew with me. I'm stretching. And my coach already, he was just like, listen, because, you know, you're coming from CrossFit. He's like, listen, we go in here, you sit down, you do nothing until I tell you to. I was like, damn, that's it? Okay.
You're like, oh, that's fine.
Okay. And he's like, you can start warming up. Okay. Like, and that's when I fell in love with it. I'm like, so like, I really don't even have to think for myself. Like, you.
Oh my God, yes, that was.
You do everything for me.
So that was the thing. Same thing for me when the meet, like my first meet, like, you know, they were just telling me like, okay, like 65, not 65. I wish I would have hit 65 my first. Well, yeah, I did. But like, you know, like just whatever way, and I went to like put it myself, like while warming up, and they're like, no, you just have to sit. Yeah. You don't touch the weights, and I'm like, I was offended. I'm like, but why? Why can't I do that? I was just yeah. They were like, no, you can't. I'm like, okay. Now I'm just kind of like I zone out, and I'm like,
put your headphones in, and you're just
yeah.
You know, if you have if you have a good group of people around you, like they'll take care of you.
Oh my God, yes. I feel like very grateful that like in most of my meets I've had, like no, actually all of my meets I've had like people that I don't have to worry about like, oh my God, what number am I gonna hit next, or what number, like, you know, I think like my last meet, which was like Palm Beach, like it was the most like stress-free meet, you know, like I had like one of like my close friends coaching me, and like she's like two of them, and they're like amazing, like, you know, they talk to you and you just don't worry about anything. I feel like that's how meets should be. Yeah, like it should be like stress-free. You don't worry about anything. You just worry about making that lift and sit back down and just whatever, go about it with your day, you know.
Yeah, and that's what I really love about weightlifting. Like it's stressful, but like with the right group of people, it's fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like if you're surrounded by like a good team, you know, it's gonna be good. You know, like, and it's good because maybe for example, like for states, I was like, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be nervous this time around.
You're always nervous until you hit that first snatch. It's like there's a little bit of nerves there, but
it's like you have to use those nerves to your advantage. Yeah. Because you could either use those nerves to your advantage or just like go, like let it like take over you, and you know, like you could just use them and make good lifts. Yeah. You know. So.
But now that I'm like I'm really trying to compete in the sport of weightlifting, I'm like, okay, I know everybody's nervous. So now I used to always rely on my headphones when I go to the gym. Yeah. I don't use headphones anymore.
No, I used to do that. I mean, clearly I just don't have to.
Because you have your speakers and stuff now.
Yeah, but even like last meet, I started putting my headphones, and after a while, I'm like, I was just like, kind of like, oh no, and then I just, you know, fine. I see a lot of people like they have to have their music. Yeah. But now for me, it's kind of like, you know, I'm kind of training myself to like listen to whatever music.
Because you can't control it.
No, and I feel like I've heard of people, they're like, I have to have the right music. Yeah. If I don't have the right song at the right moment, I am not going to hit a PR. Well, I'm not going to disagree with the fact that if you are listening to something like you're jamming and you're in that groove, that you're going to like...
You're going to hit a nice riff.
But you got to train yourself that if they're playing like a song that you freaking hate and that's your turn, you got to like just tune that out. And that, for example, like me, I don't remember what music they're playing at that moment. I don't even realize that they're playing music at that moment. I just like make my list and then that's it. Like I just shut everything out, you know, except like people shouting for me, like, come on, which is so amazing. Yeah.
Yo, when you go 0 for 2 on a lift and you walk out there and the whole crowd is behind you, it's like, okay. Like you can tell, like some people, you know, would be like, okay, like they can use it, but some people get nervous.
Yeah.
I've seen people break down, like they miss the first 2 lifts, and it's like, oh, like you know, people like they go in the back and start crying, and it's like, okay, you might as well not. At that point, you might as well not even go back out there.
Yeah, no. Like that's one thing. Like my coach always tells me, because like I'll message her like, I'm here crying, and she's like, okay, like what we're not gonna do, like dwell on that, like focus just, and like that's another thing that you're like lifting like your first lift and then you're already focused on like your
next one.
And that's like something my coach always tells me, like focus on what you have in front of you, like perfect that snatch, that clean and jerk, and then you can move on, you know. And then even your warm-ups, like treat them like they're important, you know, because
absolutely,
like that's one thing that I first like warm-ups for me was like, oh, it's just a warm-up, you know, whatever. But now I'm like, I try to treat it as like as a rep, you know, because honestly, let's face it, if your warm-ups go crappy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people disrespect the warm-ups,
but
then
God.
like you have to get the movement right, because once it gets heavy, like if you weren't, you know, moving properly, like the bar will whip your ass.
Oh my God, yeah. I just like, for me, if my warm-ups are going like bad, I just know that I'm not gonna have. Very rare, it has happened sometimes that my warm-ups are. Yeah, that I bounce right back up, but it doesn't happen often, and it's just kind of like, it just reminds me that I have to, you know, just like respect the weight, respect the barbell, you know, not like give it like too much, you know, too much respect, like, oh my God, it's everything, you know, because at the end you control it, you know, but like treat your warm-ups as if they were like basically,
actual lifts.
Yeah, or your last rep, like, because if not, it mentally like affects you too. Okay. If your warm-ups are like iffy, then you're gonna be like, that has happened to me. I'm like, man, if like 55, that's a warm-up, it's crappy. I could just imagine like 70.
Yeah, you start thinking about like the heavier weights.
Yeah, so definitely, you know, just people just need to have fun. I mean, obviously, if you're trying to like qualify for big meets, don't just go there like, this is fun. You know?
No, man. Honestly, I think you do have to have fun no matter what.
Well, yeah.
You do have to try to have some fun.
Yeah.
No matter what, but like turn it on. Like you have to care. Like once you walk onto that platform, it's like, okay, boom.
Yeah.
Zone in, hit that lift, and then get back to where.
No, for sure. I completely agree.
Yeah, you gotta have some sort of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, because if not, if you like consume yourself in nerves, oh my God, I think that's just like so painful. That's something that I always tell myself, like, I am not gonna be nervous. Like I try to do mental exercises before, like 10 days out. I do like mental exercises.
Do what, like, as for what kind of mental exercises?
I have like a book. She's like a mental coach for like CrossFit.
Okay.
And like she has coached like game athletes and stuff like that, but she has like a little book. I can't remember her name, but she has a book that you do like 10 days out, and it's like exercises, like how, like basically how will you feel if things don't go your way, like, you know, just. And then I also use my journal, like from Amy, that helps a lot because, you know, it just talks about competitions and stuff like that. So I try to do that. Like even now, I'm already starting like doing and like reading like a book. I'm reading Tough, like by like Greg from Catalyst, which is my second time reading it. But I feel like the first time that I read it, I kind of like, now it's just like blah, but I read it and I was like, okay, cool, but you know.
Now you're actually trying to soak it in.
Yeah, no, because I feel like for me, a lot of it is mental.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. Who's your who's your favorite like lifter now? Like who do you besides Christina Richards that we all look up to and admire?
I love her.
Who else do you like?
Like local lifters?
I mean, it could be local, international, national, like whatever. Like
oh man, like there's like so many, but like I can never say her name. This chick,
Talia, I know who you're talking about.
Toma.
Yeah, okay. Toma.
Yeah.
I damn it.
Oh my God.
I embarrass myself every time I do it.
I don't know. Like I'm
yeah, no, I know exactly.
I'm pretty sure I know
who you're talking about. I think it's Tomar or something like that.
Yeah, Loma Toma. She's from that country. She just snatched like 130 kilos or something. Yeah. I mean, she's like one of my favorites. I love like locally, like my friend, like Robin. I think I told you about her. Like she's not lifting anymore, but like I admire her. She's just like naturally strong. Like she was like freaking snatch. I think it was like 85 kilos without shoes one day.
Oh wow!
She left her shoes at home. She's like, okay, I just snatched. And I'm like, oh my God, I love Sarah Guzman.
Okay, from
Team
Soul.
Yeah,
okay.
Team Soul.
And I follow her. She's really cool.
Yeah, like they are just like, oh my God, I love them. And then Carly, she's from Camargo.
Yeah.
I love her. Oh my God, she's like, I met her. I mean, I didn't like officially meet her, but I saw her at like Pralium last year, and I was just like, wow, like I was like, I want to live like her.
She's a badass.
Yeah, like she's a sweetheart too. Like she's amazing.
Yo, whenever they come down, like it's an event. Like when all when all the Camargo satellites come down and like they get together, it's like all right, they're partying. You know, they have a blast, man. I love it. I love seeing it.
Yeah, they look like amazing. I always see their videos and I'm like, they have so much fun.
Yeah.
And I'm like here like for myself.
See, it's cool. Like it's important, like to say that because as a local or just a regular lifter, like you don't realize who's watching. Like who like you're inspiring somebody just by being who you are, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. And that's one of the missions for this little like sit down because you're probably somebody's like motivation.
Oh.
No, I swear I promise you, like there's somebody out there who looks at your lifts every single day, who looked at your transformation and it's like, boom, I'm motivated now. Yeah,
no, I've had people message me like, I've seen your like transformation from like, let's say like a couple months ago until now, and I'm just like, it's like you're your own like worst critic. So it's kind of like I don't see it, but like there's so many lifters out there, like Stephanie Rubio too. She lives for Jacked Nation, I think. Yeah, in Miami too. She's freaking amazing. Like she made me buy these.
Oh really?
But like she posted about them, and I'm like, I was asking her like, how do you like those tiles? And then she's like, girl, they're the best. So here we are.
Damn, we're all connected, man.
Yeah, I mean I love this community. It's like, I don't know, especially like the girls, they like all support each other.
I mean, this is like the Florida. I don't know if it's like that, like this everywhere else, but women in Florida, like you guys run like weightlifting.
Yeah, I feel like
there's way more women in weightlifting, and they're all like, whenever I'm like trying to think of something, I have a hard time pulling men's names. Like, like I know a few, but it's like I'm like way cooler with the women because there's so many.
Yeah, there's so many of them. Yeah, they're like so sweet. I have yet to encounter any females that are just kind of like, whatever, you're my competition. We can't, like, because even like I have girls that were in the same category and then super cool. So, all right.
I think that's it. We're gonna sign off over here though.
Okay.
All right. So thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for coming over.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I feel honored. I honestly do. I was like, me? I'm like,
yeah, of course. I was like, and I wanted to make sure we waited till after 75 hard because I wanted to make sure we talked about that.
Thank you so much.
Oh, for sure. So, see you at States.
Yes. See you at States.
All right.